Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to give you the invitation link to the FoundryVTT thing I posted in the chat in the Zoom. So if you as usual, if you paste that into your browser window, it should bring up a window where it'll ask you to select what player you are. Just pick your own name. You don't need to pick any specific character, because obviously we haven't made any yet. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see a nice star map thing.
Up to 50% off selected products, with extra 20% off the choice of floors and beds. Get fitted in time for Christmas. Carpet right for life.
Okay, so everyone looking all right with that? Can you all see the map? Or
Yeah.
Lovely. I can see you all moving your cursors around on the map. It's just a basic map. You won't be able to interact with anything apart from the green target, which can obviously be moved around, because that's going to be where you guys are at any particular time. Standard shit. I mean, the idea is, obviously I canvassed you guys early on to find out that the majority of people wanted a bit more of a Star Wars vibe.
Yeah.
So I've used a random website called Sectors Without Number to generate this map, and then I've just gusset it up a little bit. Okay, so in terms of, obviously this is running off of sort of the old D&D sort of style vibe.
Yeah.
Just shut down my browser, save me a bit of a bandwidth. Yeah, so in terms of, obviously it's a class and level based system. What I've done is I've created a sort of template for each of the classes, which has everything in it for the first level of that class except for your attribute scores. So pretty much all you need to do is decide what class you're playing. I'll then make I'll make a copy of this template, make it available to you, drop your stats in. We'll have to sort out some equipment, but then you're pretty good to go, to be honest. I'm going to use a bit out of the White Star Companion here, which is basically a very super simple way. It's called a serial. It's a super simple way of doing a life path thing to determine a bit of background for you. And you can either roll those or you can choose them. But we'll go into that a bit later. So in terms of the classes that are available, guys, and we'll get round to discussing which ones you actually want once we've talked about what sort of group you want to do. But just give you a flavour. There's the Alien Brute, which is your Klingon, your Wookiee, your big, strong, powerful aliens. And obviously, I'm hoping to get a bit of input from you guys. If you say, I want to play an alien, I'm probably going to ask you some questions about what your alien species is like. And there's no real wrong answers, because we're sort of creating the setting all between ourselves anyway. But just keep in mind, we're basically going for a Star Wars with the serial numbers filed off. So that sort of vibe, but obviously you don't have to make it a copy of a Wookiee or a copy of a fucking Klingon or whatever. We have the Alien Mystic, which is your more intelligent, sort of slightly psychic alien. We then have the sort of the human classes. We have the Aristocrat, which is obviously all about inspiring people and using your clout as a noble. We have the Mercenary, pretty obvious what that is. The Pilot, again pretty obvious. There's the Robot, which is your sort of Star Wars droid. And if you pick a robot, you get to pick which sort of type of robot you are. So protocol droid, combat droid, that sort of stuff. And then we have the Star Knight, which I'm sure you'll all be surprised to know is basically a Jedi.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's shocking, isn't it? I've mentioned this to Johannes before. I ran this for a one-shot at UK Games Expo, and we had an Asian lad who didn't really know much about RPGs, but he was I like a bit of Star Wars, so we'll run some White Star. And I just had some pre-gen characters, and he was I I don't really know, I'll just take this one. And he was like looking at his character, he didn't really say much for like the first 5 minutes of the game. And then like when the first encounter went off, he was like, so I'm a Jedi? And I was like, yeah, pretty much, mate. And he was like, oh, yeah. And he was like, oh, this star sword on here. I was like, yes, it's a lightsaber, mate.
Yeah.
You enjoy yourself. Go for it. And as soon as I told him that, I was like, it's basic D&D. Don't worry too much about the rules. Just say what you want to do. And if I need to, I'll say, roll me this dice, and I'll tell you what happens. And he was fucking backflipping everywhere, like chopping through doors with lightsabers and shit. He was just like, oh, can I do this? I was like, can a Jedi do it in Star Wars? He was like, well, yeah, they do it in the films. I was like, yeah, there you go then. I was like, if my answer's going to be, they do it in the films, then just assume that you can do it. And like, I was like, if you can't do it, I'll just be like, actually, otherwise just like crack on, mate. But I was talking a bit about this with Johannes the other day. How Star Wars do we want to go with this? And what sort of I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. What sort of like group dynamic are we looking for? Like, because if we want to get like full Star Wars, and you guys are like, oh, we want to be like the Rebel Alliance fighting against like an evil empire, I'm fucking down with that. I can go for that. That's absolutely fine. But if you're like, oh, we want to be like the Han Solo, like fucking scummy smugglers or whatever, or we want to be like a criminal cartel or whatever, within those classes, we've got a fairly broad range of like things you could do. And the advantage to like using an actual Star Wars system is that a lot of them are sort of slanted towards a particular type of play, whereas this game really isn't. So like, I'm going to have to do a little bit more legwork to adapt it, because like, there's not all the stuff there for it. But if you guys are like, oh yeah, one of us is going to play like an aristocrat who's like the face of the group, but it's like a criminal cartel and we're like drug runners or whatever, that's fine, we can run with that. If you're all like, oh, we all want to be Star Knights and like we're trying to restore like the Jedi Order, that's fine, we can do that as well. So what sort of like group dynamic would you guys fancy, basically? I mean, like I said, there's no wrong answers, it's just a brainstorming session, this really. So has anyone got any thoughts with regards to like what sort of vibe you'd be looking for in the game? So we've established Star Wars, but there's a lot within that sort of umbrella.
I'm kind of keen on that kind of Han Solo, Firefly, small ship, kind of bouncing both sides of the law kind of stuff, you know.
But it's a small crew doing incredible things.
Yeah. As opposed to we're the Rebel Alliance and we're blah 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 blah. That gives us scope for lots of different types of things, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if we want to go for something like that, there's no reason why we can't go. We're still going to have like the Star Wars background with like the Rebel Alliance and the Empire, because as we know from the films, when they first meet like Han Solo, he has like fuck all to do with the Rebel Alliance. He's just like, I'm just doing my thing, trying to make ends meet, flying around with my Wookiee. You know, just like trying to like make enough money to pay off Jabba the Hutt and whatever.
Yeah.
One thing I am going to say is, obviously spaceships in the game are fairly expensive, but you guys will like need a ship to get around. Now, there is one choice, there is one option on this sort of life path like role for like your characters that can lead like, I've inherited a ship, and you start with a freighter. If no one gets that, I'm still going to say you have a ship, but it will just be like a case of like you owe money to someone for like getting you that ship, so you start off like with a debt that you need to pay back. But you will be starting with a ship, because I don't see the point of like running a space game and like you're not having a ship. That's like me running like a fantasy D&D game and being like, yeah, no one starts with any weapons.
Yeah, kind of hard to get around without a ship, all right.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Especially when you consider like the vast distances involved in a sort of sci-fi game. And obviously, as you know from playing my OSE game, I like to run like a hex scroll game where I'm just like, right, I've populated this map. go out and explore and do whatever you want as a group. I'm not going to tell you like, oh, you've got to go on this adventure. Oh, fucking sci-fi Gandalf turns up and he's like, I've got a mission for you, adventure. None of that bullshit. Which has the downside of obviously like the players have to be like more proactive and like going out and finding stuff. But it also means you're not going to constantly have me trying to like steer you into like a particular plot line.
Yeah.
And I'm basically using the similar philosophy to this, only instead of exploring hexes on like a continent map like we do in OSC, you've got a sector map of space. And whilst we might not have the same level of exploration when you get to a planet, because I'm not going to map out every individual planet, it's going to be down to you guys to be like, oh yeah, we're going to go to like this system, or like, oh, we're going to go here, or we're going to do this. And obviously, if you rock into a space station and you're like, oh yeah, we're going to look for some like trading jobs or bounties or whatever, I'll provide those, and you can make your choice about which one you want to go on. That's absolutely fine. But I'm not going to sort of have someone like run up to you and be like, please save the cheerleader, save the world. Okay, so Rob, sorry, I was going to say, Rob suggested like a small ship and a crew with a bit more of the sort of Han Solo, like independence vibe.
Yeah.
How's everyone else feeling about that? Has anyone got any other suggestions, anything they want considered? Because like I said,
I'm always for the cartels, John, but, you know, I'm happy to move along with what people want.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose the thing is as well, if you're sort of like rogues, you know, sort of like doing your own thing, obviously we know like your Han Solo type, you deal with like who you deal with to like get the money done. So there probably will be times when you'll take like criminal jobs because that's what's going to pay the money. So how about yourself, Johannes?
Well, if we are going with elements of Star Wars and we're going to be doing the odd job here and there on basically no... Well, based on probably the fact that we have a ship and there's a huge loan and there's a fat space slug somewhere trying to turn us into Bantha Voodoo, it's probable that we will be shooting the evil empire at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I wanted in this game, which... Yeah, if we are criminals, they are the authority, so...
Yeah.
There's going to be some customs inspections that probably turn into firefights, is what I'm saying.
Well, like I said, I know you were keen on the sort of Empire and Rebellion background, so
Yeah.
even though you guys aren't starting off as like, yes, we're like a rebel cell, we'll have that in the background. And you know me, any excuse to like do an NPC who sounds a bit like Emperor Palpatine, I'm fucking all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got that down. Have any of you thought about what sort of character you might like to play? As I've said, the very broad background for this setting that I've sort of done at the minute is basically all of these races were sort of taken from their homes by like a sort of ancient precursor race, and eventually they rebelled and they broke free of this race who like disappeared. And then, whilst they were united while they were like fighting this race off, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all brothers together. We're fighting again." Of course, as soon as like the common foe had gone, they all like split off into their own like little empires and stuff like that. And the sort of galactic empire equivalent that obviously I'll name later on is basically just like the latest attempt by someone to like bring everything under one government for potentially villainous purposes.
Yeah, peace and order, John.
That's it. Obviously, in the game, we do have Star Knights, which are like Jedi, and they have their opposite number, Void Knights, which are basically the Sith. So, I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts about how much you want that sort of mystical, like, Jedi stuff to come into it. Because if you guys are like, we don't want any Jedi, we don't want any Sith, that's fine. We can still do, like, the Empire and the Rebellion without them. But obviously, if you guys do want them in the game, we can have them in the game, but I'll work them into the background appropriately. When I say appropriately,
it's
I mean I'll rip off Star
isn't
Wars
it?
shamelessly. Yeah, I would say it's difficult for me to imagine Star Wars without that, or a Star Wars equivalent without a Jedi in it. But I think you could do it.
Yeah. And they did with, let's say, Rogue One. They only bring the space wizards at the end, really.
That wildly successful film.
Yeah, the only Star Wars film that's good.
Yeah,
You're probably right. Yeah. It's the only Star Wars film with war in it.
To be fair, I was entirely ambivalent about the film up until the minute like Darth Vader like uncorks that kind of whoop ass at the end of the film, and then I was like, yeah, this is good. I like that because it always answered the question to me of like at the start of New Hope, like when you see Vader come onto like the ship. And all the rebels are like, oh my God, it's Vader. And they're like firing and like shitting themselves. When I first saw that, I was like, I don't understand why they're so scared. He's not done anything. He's just like walked slowly down a corridor and like blocked their like blaster bolts. But when you see like Rogue One and he's like throwing people into the ceiling and just like hacking people down and they've been like running away from him, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Yeah. I'd be scared. So yeah, I really like that because it didn't try and replace anything from the original. It just added like an extra dimension to it, which I feel some of the later films like Solo and stuff like that, they were basically all about like, hey, remember Solo's blaster? Hey, look at that. Hey, remember how we didn't know how he got his name? Hey, look at that. Hey, here's something you know about. Whereas Rogue One like felt like it was just telling its own sort of story. Ironically,
it was new stuff.
Yeah,
like it was about something we knew about, but it was a new story.
Yeah.
Had Donnie Yen in it.
Yeah. And well, anyway, the movie structure is the only one that I can actually like point at and say, oh, that seems like a movie that someone spent some time thinking about.
It did make me laugh with Donnie Yen when people were like, oh, I wonder if like Donnie Yen's got force powers. I'm like, his character's supposedly blind. Have you seen him in the film? The
dude lived in a holy city of the Jedi as a blind monk. The fuck are you talking about?
I'm not saying he's a Jedi. All I'm saying is he's blind. He's got a stick. Did you just see him take out that like squad of stormtroopers on his own without breaking a sweat? Of course, he's got like force. Yeah. The only one
only says it like 16 million times in the movie.
The only person I thought was a bit wasted in that film was Sol Guerrero.
Oh yeah, he got such little screen time. I thought he might have been like the thing, but he was just a springboard, really.
Because basically, like, there's that whole bit where he's like, where they're like going to blow up the planet, and he's like, "Save the dream," and I was like, "Why don't you just go with them, mate? Like, there's literally no reason for you to die. Like, you're not doing anything by staying here." And he's just like, no, you go. I'm just going to stay here and get blown up. But save the dream. Which didn't make any sense to me, especially because he was a character from like the Clone Wars and all that bullshit. I was like, oh, seeing him in live action, they're going to give him some like kick-ass to do. No, he's there for like 5 seconds. Then he's like, I've got to die now because the script says so. Save the dream.
Yeah, and they got a good actor as well.
Yeah, like Forrest Whitaker.
Like what the no. He's gone.
It was like, it did leave me wondering. I was like, I mean, obviously I know Disney's got more money than God, but I was like, could they like not afford Forrest Whitaker for like more than like an hour or some shit? Because like they put him in all those like expansive like prosthetics and like armor and stuff, which can't have been cheap to make.
No.
And then he's on screen for like 5 minutes. What the fuck's that?
It's wild. There's some interesting things that happen when money is no object. It's just someone just goes like, oh, let's hand Tom Cruise an entire movie franchise that is supposed to kind of compete with, I don't know, like Marvel and stuff. Bad call. Bad call.
I've still not watched that film. I can't bring myself to watch it. I like the one with I like the one with what's it, Fraser in it too much. The Brendan Fraser in the original.
Yeah. That movie has some interesting and nice visuals in it, but it's offensively stupid in the writing.
Oh
it's actually like in the first 15 minutes, I was like, Don't turn it off. Stay on target.
Yeah, a little closer. The thing is, it's like if you're going to make a film like The Mummy, and let's face it, like The Mummy is someone wrapped in bandages. They're not fucking scary. If you're going to do it like the Brendan Fraser films where it's like tongue in cheek and it's a bit pulpy and like, you know, that there's a bit of comedy in it and there's a bit of action in it. You can't make it into like a serious horror film, but because like it's a fucking person in like bandages. So, even like Imhotep in like the Brendan Fraser one, he's not that scary. Yeah, it's cool to see like the big wall of sand with his like face in it and the scarabs and all that, but it was all like quite tongue in cheek and quite sort of like almost like poking a bit of fun at itself. So like, you know, oh yeah, we don't have to take this too seriously. Oh, let's just focus on enjoying it. Whereas then they're like, oh, here comes the new Mummy film. It's all dark and grim and serious. I was just like, nope.
Yeah,
That'll do me.
yeah. And Tom Cruise is doing it.
Yeah.
Take this jumper off him.
That's the true horror.
Yeah. Oh.
I guess it's the one downside to having your fucking office directly above the kitchen in like the warmest room in the fucking house. Unfortunately, if I open my window wide at the minute, it would sound like it's fucking Beirut here because everyone's lighting off fireworks.
Oh yeah, because you have your. What? Wait a minute. Why is it now?
By Forks night.
It's basically you know like how what people normally do is like if like November the 5th's in a week, normally people will be like, oh, you know, we're like at work and stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
So like quite a lot of families and stuff will do it either like the weekend before or like the weekend afterwards. Yeah. But I think during like lockdown, like people are just like so desperate for like something to do. They're like, shit, we've got an excuse.
Yeah.
That's just generally kids, though, mate. If they get all some fireworks, they'll set them off.
I'll say,
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got at the minute, Rob is interested in like the small ship, the crew, so like rogues, like doing your own thing. Dave, you're fine with that, but you're leaning a bit more towards the cartels. Yeah, combine them. Yanis, you want to see like the sort of the Empire and the rebels. We'll put that in the background. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and it doesn't asterisk. It doesn't even need the rebels in it. Honestly, like
Just the Empire.
Yeah, we could just have the man from whom to steal.
Well, yeah, there's definitely obviously if you're doing like shady like smuggling shit, like you say, there's obviously going to be like the authorities of some variety because like you've got to have that if you're doing smugglers, because otherwise you're not smugglers, you're just like
you're traders.
you're just traders. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if there's no law that you occasionally have to skirt around, it's not smuggling. It's just like exchanging goods.
Yep.
Which
But you enjoy the like the faceless authority in space, like sort of being there, and we see this in Star Wars as well. Like the Empire is an occupying force, which occasionally like gets into like whatever happens on the planet, but usually they're just like content with setting up an outpost, really, and like the stormtroopers, and let the locals do their own shit, and then whenever they don't like it, they shoot everyone. But it's mostly them being the spaceport police.
Well, one thing I was going to suggest, obviously we're setting this in like a discrete sector of space. One thing I was going to suggest is if we want to go with the whole like Empire thing, is effectively have this as like a frontier sector where they'll be like, there's like planetary governors who like work for the Empire and they've got the stormtroopers and whatever, but like they can't just like get on the communicator and be like, send me a fleet of Star Destroyers, sort of thing.
Where's the taxes from the last year? Okay, no Star Destroyers.
Yeah, so they will have like a few decent starships, but it's not like if you like step a foot outside the law, like the full might of like the Imperial Navy is going to come crashing down on you.
Yeah, no, it's too big, and that's one of the things that allows, I guess, like the cartels to live, is because there's just too much ground to cover. It's not feasible to actually police all of space.
I think the ironic thing is as well with these sort of like frontier sectors is like generally the like planetary governors aren't that keen to like ring up the main sort of like imperial capital.
Yeah.
How can you send us some help? Because like the first thing they'll get asked if they have to do that is like, why haven't you sorted this problem out?
Yeah.
You're like the planetary governor.
Yeah.
Like,
No news is good news.
Yeah, so we put you in charge, so like we didn't have to deal with this shit directly.
Yep.
So, as you say, that gives a bit more space for like criminal cartels, smugglers, and people like that to operate, where they know they can sort of like they can bend the law, they can sort of work around the law, but you know, obviously you don't want to get too big because, as we've saw with like the sort of Rebel Alliance in the Star Wars films, once it starts becoming like a credible threat, the like planetary governors and that are like, all right, okay, yeah, well, we've got no choice but to call in the big guns now because like we need this dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they'd have stayed small and like below the radar, it'd have made some things more difficult for them, but they probably could have like built up their forces a little bit more. Obviously, I know there was time pressures in the film, like the Death Star.
Yeah, and it's always, this is my number one problem. It's always like 15 minutes. That's enough time to do anything in that world.
Apart from if you're talking about like the latest 3 films, when it's just like all you got to do is wait for the end, and like everyone in the universe will turn up and help you somehow.
Yeah.
Because they all know where you are somehow, and they can all get to the planet that no one can get to somehow.
Yeah.
That was the bit when the last movie really fucking lost me, when they were like, everyone's turning up to help, and I was like, no.
Bring back the cyber zombie.
Just like fucking that everyone's come to help, and I'm like, what'd you do? Like get on like fucking Galaxy like WhatsApp and just be like, oh, everyone, here's where we are, and here's like the navigation data. Like, can you come and help us in the next 10
We're
minutes?
all on Zoom, mate.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a massive Zoom chat. Admiral Akbar's there like, is my microphone on? You need to use push to talk, Admiral. Okay, so we've got small ship, cartel, empire, and possibly rebels, we don't know. A frontier sector with like imperial governors. Obviously there will be systems that aren't sort of officially held by the empire as well. So like
free ports.
Yeah, so there'll be like smugglers, free ports. Obviously there'll be places like you have like the Hutts pretty much like run certain planets, like even if there actually is an imperial governor. It's like obviously they're not in charge, like the cartels are in charge. There'll be like planets like that which are criminal running in all but name, basically. Do we want to have Jedi and Sith in it?
Of course we do.
How are people feeling?
Yeah. Space wizard.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. Is there anything, just like flip it a bit, is there anything anyone definitely doesn't want to see in the game? So we've talked a bit about the things we do want to see. Is there anything where anyone's like, come on, that you'd prefer not to see?
No, I think really happy enough to see anything, really. I don't.
Excellent. That's grand then. That's fine by me.
Yeah, can't come up with anything.
I've got it. I had a think earlier and I couldn't think of anything. So
yeah, because I was thinking like what would be in, because we're talking about Star Wars here, like anything in Star Wars that I wouldn't want.
Jar Jar Binks.
Hey mate,
yeah, I guess
we get, since we're going to be streaming the game, there is no way I'm doing like a ridiculously racist accent on the stream, man. Okay, I'll be like demonetized in a hot second if I come on. I'm like, Misa running Star Wars. Banned.
No,
that's not. Which it's a shame they went with the goofy accents, because I think if it hadn't been for that and the obvious comedy character, like the race could have actually been quite interesting. There was some good stuff in there once you like wiped away like the layers of crap.
Yeah, and you don't get enough fish people in general, like sort of aquatic species in sci-fi.
I quite like the idea as well, like when they're trying to persuade him and they're like, oh look, like if they take down the Naboo, they're like coming for you next, and like fucking Boz Naz or whatever his name is. It's just like, oh, the Naboo, fuck them. What have they ever done for us?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, we have to live under the water and they don't want anything to do with us. What the fuck they do? And I quite like the idea of these two races and they just have nothing to do with each other until they're basically forced to like work together and they get a bit of the fucking Jedi mind trick on them and whatever. Okay, so in terms of characters, what are we feeling in terms of classes, guys? If you need me to go through them again, let me know.
I've kind of thinking about an engineering type, probably mercenary as the class.
Okay.
Because none of the other classes are kind of anyway suitable. But yeah, kind of leaning towards that, keeping the ship running style.
Okay. I'll make a copy of the mercenary and set that so you can all see it. Configure permissions. There we go. All players. Right, hopefully in the menu on the right, if you click on the little icon that looks like 3 people, it'll say Actors Directory. You should see a character sheet that's just got your name on it, Rob.
Yeah.
And that's basically, it's got everything in it for a level 1 mercenary except the stats, basically.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so Dave, what are you thinking of?
I'm happy to do pilot or
It's up to you, mate. Just pick which one you want.
I'm happy to be pilot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me make a copy of one of those for you. There we go. And how about yourself, Johannes?
Still haven't quite settled on a particular one. There's that problem with this variety of games that you could do a whole bunch of different things with a bunch of different characters because the classes aren't that expansive.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was thinking Alien Mystic, but I don't think I'll go that route. We do have a mercenary, which is almost already good for that kind of thing. No,
You can always do with more mercenaries.
Yeah, that is very true. Okay.
Do we need a captain, or do you think we just want to be kind of a group like the Han Solo and Luke, kind of arguing every 5 minutes about which way to go? Or more of a...
You lot can argue whichever way you want to go. I'll just go where we need to be.
Well, there's no mad rush, Johannes, so just take a bit of time to think about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to go down the mysticism route, there's pretty much like the Mystic Alien or the Star Knight, like the 2 Mystic classes.
Yeah, and I was looking at the Alien Mystic, which has some of the spicy, like low-level D&D stuff, which is the I win buttons, but otherwise it's fairly like that is a class that is fine-tuned to do the like, oh, this is the savage mystic that we picked up, like this is the shaman from the alien culture on this backwater swamp planet, but not necessary thing.
There's no reason why you have to be like a primitive alien.
Yeah, and I know, and I was actually going to suggest that it would have been because it says like, oh, like maybe they're like near humans. I was gonna say like maybe they are genetically restructured human beings, but I think so. Popular vote. Which one do we want? Aristo or Star Knight?
Be a Star Knight.
Does anyone know what Kelly wants to play?
Kelly will quite happily play mercenary, whatever you want, basically.
Well, yeah. Let's. Also, it's a game where people fucking die, so I'll start off with a Star Knight. So,
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Let me just make a copy of that for you.
What you're talking about, Johannes, I haven't died in almost 3 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we can get 3 heavy hitters and a pilot, we should be okay.
I was looking at the Aristo. That has some juicy stuff, and at 4th level, you get a couple of mercenaries as bodyguards, which that looks spicy.
It's getting there.
Yep. Anything for hirelings in a game like this.
Well, as you've recently been discussing in the OSE game, there is no reason once you've made a bit of money you can't just be like, we're going to hire some of that people.
Yeah.
And obviously you do have one small advantage that like your fantasy sort of like equivalents don't have, the big spaceship.
Yeah. And infinite space.
Yeah. It's not like in like OSE where you're like, oh shit, you know, like if we're going to go into a dungeon, if we get trashed in there and we've got no healing, that's it, bad times. In this, it's like you can always try and get back to the ship and just like fuck off somewhere else. And obviously you'll have things in this game like medikits and stuff that you can buy that like you can't really just buy in like fantasy. Like you can't just like buy loads of healing potions. But obviously in this, because science, you can just like, oh yeah, we just buy like a load of medikits and like shit like that. So it is a little more slanted towards survivability, but obviously it's still an old school game. You don't start with mad amounts of hit points. I've set all the classes to like have the max hit points for level 1. So you don't have to worry about like rolling them and getting like a 1 or a 2 or anything like that. Just I thought that there's going to be people like blasters and like laser guns and stuff like that. So
Cool. And do we think that there'll be kind of ship combat and that sort of stuff, or is it?
there probably will be at some point, yeah.
Okay.
But again, it depends on what you guys do.
Yeah. I guess it was more, I guess, for whether we thought the ship should be like a fully armored yoke or more of a,
Well,
speed.
what you'll be starting with is like a basic like medium freighter, which I'll go into the stats for that in a bit. But obviously, as you get money, you can like add extra shit to your ship. So if you're like, oh yeah, we want to like stick some extra laser cannons on it, you've just got to get the money to be able to do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's get some stats rolled then. Okay, so all of your stats, strength down to charisma, are all set at 10 at the minute, just as like the basic. You should see on the icons on the left there is like a little polyhedral dice. If you click on that, it'll give you like options as to what dice you can roll. You can just click on them to like roll them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. And anything you roll will pop up on the right if you click on the speech balloon on the right. So in terms of attributes, it's the standard stuff. You all know how it works. You roll 3d6 for each of your attribute. What I'm going to say though, guys, is you roll 3d6 6 times to get your numbers, but you can like allocate them to whatever stats you want rather than having to just like roll them in order. And you can roll them using normal dice or online, or whatever you see fit.
Can I roll 3d8s?
You what?
Can I roll 3d8s?
No.
Okay, well that's a fucking terrible start. Oh, I'll take that.
Stop throwing dice at me.
I've got to admit, one of the things I do find amusing with like the 3D dice, and this is like if they hit other dice, they like behave like dice would behave. Which I was like, obviously there's no earthly because it doesn't change your result, like, but there's no earthly reason to put that in. But like, I like the fact that people who made the module have just like put it in.
Huh?
There we go, done mine.
Okay. So just bang them down in your character sheet.
Yep.
And most of you, if you look at the abilities tab on your character sheet, you will get an XP bonus for having like a high ability in a certain score. So for like Johannes for the Star Knight, if you have like a wicked high wisdom, you can get like I think if you have 15 plus in your wisdom, you get like an extra like 10% in that XP. So it's worth bearing that in mind when you're allocating your stats. I mean, you can put them wherever you want, but it's worth bearing in mind. And obviously once you guys have rolled them and you've got all your stats written in, we'll then roll on the sort of the serials or sort of like background list. I like the fact because I've got like two screens open with this on, and like the one obviously I've got running on my computer, like not in the browser, is like running quicker. So when you guys are clicking on the dice, I hear like on that one screen, but like nothing appears on the screen I'm looking at until like a second later. And as I said, I've used a website called Sectors Without Number that has randomly generated this map, and I've just dropped some extra icons on there, and it sort of randomly determines like what the systems are like, but what you can effectively like re-roll like the random stuff that I've got because I've got the sector stored on their website. So what I'll do is now we've worked out, we want like an imperial area, an independent area, and whatever. I'll go on, I'll have a look in at any that don't make sense. I'll just sort of like re-roll them until we get something that works.
Do we think it'll be more rifles and blasters and than kind of these mono axes and mono swords and
it's probably going to be more sort of like blasters and stuff like that in terms of like equipment.
Okay.
Now the only unfortunate thing is because we're using like an old school essentials rule system because it's the nearest they've got for Foundry, the virtual tabletop, is like I'm going to have to like create the equipment. So what we'll do is when we come to the equipment, we'll get you guys to work out how much cash you've got, and I'll just write down like on my pad what equipment you want to buy, and then between this and the first session I'll put all the equipment on there. I've just not had a chance to do it yet, unfortunately, and then I can drop that into your sheet, so when we come to the first game you'll have all your shit there ready to go. But yeah, I mean, mono daggers and swords and all that stuff, like all the equipment in here will be available. But since we're going for like the Star Wars vibe, it'll probably be more like, like you say, like your blasters and like your laser pistols and your laser rifles and stuff like that.
Okay.
How's everyone coming on with their stats?
Done, mate.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So.
Yeah, that's not bad. Well, you've not rolled below 10 yet, yeah? So you're doing all right.
Oh, there we go.
There's always one.
I should come a master, shouldn't I?
Yeah, but this is just the one.
Yeah,
With,
that's true, yeah.
Yonder jackdaw barely could stand up.
My stats. So fair play to you, though, for just going, yeah. That's what I've got. Let's go.
And it was great. I enjoyed that thoroughly. It was
It's why it always
some of
makes
the fun times.
It's why it always makes me laugh, because I've played no end of like basic D&D characters. I'm like, whatever my stats are, like if I don't have them hit points, like I can still die dead easily anyway, regardless of my stats. So in a way, I find it quite freeing when I'm playing old school D&D, because it's like it doesn't really matter if I've got low stats, but I can like have fun playing it.
Yeah. And it was pretty funny being like, oh, 3rd level. How many hit points do you have? 3. Great. Nice.
That's it. Let's go adventuring. Oh, it looks a bit cold outside. I think the vapors may take me.
Stubbed my toes, so that's like 1/3 of my life, dude.
To be fair, you're not going to be as bad as Colin. Oh, a magic sword.
Yeah, but I did get hit with a book and it almost killed me. So
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
there's that.
Okay, so if you're bang your stats in on your character sheet,
Yeah.
and we shall get on with the serials. Okay, so all of these rolls are like D6 rolls. So the first one is for your home world to determine like what sort of world you were born on. So if you can all roll me a D6, please, just a single D6.
6.
Oof, Dave,
Yeah.
you were born on a dangerous world. Your home world is a dangerous one, dominated by natural dangers such as lava flows or cataclysmic environments like radiation clouds. You had to be keen-eyed to survive and had little time for niceties or politeness. You get a +1 wisdom and a -1 charisma. Okay.
+1 wisdom, so that's 11.
Okay, so
And
what did you...
-1 charisma.
Yeah, so what did you get, Giannis?
Me and Rob both got 2.
Okay, so the two of you were both born on a high gravity world. Your world had a heavier gravity than most. You are stronger for it, able to lift weights and have more mass. However, you're slower and less precise than other creatures. You both get a +1 strength and a -1 dexterity. Because you're like...
I need to start working on my space Scottish accent.
I was born on a heavy gravity world, donkey! Okay. So the next one is family. So what your relationship with your family is like. And again, it's a single D6 roll.
3.
3. Most of your family is dead or missing, Dave.
Makes sense, yeah.
If fate... All right. Sorry, on a second, I'm checking this. All right, so the way this works, which is a little bit odd, when designing an adventure, the referee has the option to select one character, which I'll probably do randomly, and secretly roll a saving throw on behalf of the player. Using the modifier listed above, the results of the saving throw determine whether or not a player character's family member becomes involved in the adventure.
Oh.
So for you, Dave, like you don't get to make a saving throw because like most of your family's dead. So a family member arrives during an adventure and can complicate the situation for you. Okay, so Johannes, what did you get?
Same.
Yeah. Most of your family's dead or missing.
Sorry, I don't know why I rolled 2.
Sorry, mate, just pick which one you want.
3.
Same.
So we're all saying, okay.
Yeah, so all of you, perhaps that's what's
So we all
bonded you all
escaped from the same
together.
orphanage, right?
You're all sort of sat together in the space cantina, and like Dave's character's like, Oh, yeah. So how are you guys doing? Oh, yeah, just here because most of my family's done. Wait a minute. Like, all three of you are looking at each other like, it must be fate. It's the way, which is the name of the force in White Star.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of your family members are dead. Right, okay, that's bizarre. Okay, so the next one is a brief description of like what you got up to in your youth. So again, it's a D6 roll.
We all stepped off the protagonist factory line.
That's it.
1.
3 again.
Okay, so with a 1, Dave, you were sold into slavery in your youth. You gain an extra hit point per level, so obviously you get an extra 1 now, first level.
Yeah.
And you should be able to see that in the little sort of... Oh yeah, there it is. So I'll add an extra 1 on for you. Boom, there we go. It's the weird sort of parabola with the 7s in now for you. So
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you get? Sorry, Rob?
I
3.
got a 3. Yeah.
Okay, you are a refugee in your youth. You can find food and water in urban environments on a roll of 1 to 2 on a d6.
Okay.
So, obviously, because I've got this recorded, when I play this back, I'll add that as an ability to your character sheet. How about yourself, Johannes?
5.
When you were young, you were swept off to adventure. You can add +1 to any attribute of your choice.
Well, now.
Nice.
Not bad, not bad. So I was picked off from the orphanage probably by someone called Pen Genopi.
That's it. Hello, I'm Ken Bonobi.
Yes, I am undercover. No, I'm Ben Kenobi.
That's it. Okay, so on to the next one, which is your first adventure. Now, this is like adventures you had before the start of the campaign, like before you all came together. So again, it's a D6. There's only a few more of these. Okay, so 2, your first adventure, you stowed away on a starship. You can remain silent while still and sort of remain unnoticed on a roll of 1 to 2 on a D6. So I'll add that as an ability into your character sheet.
Cheers.
How about yourself, Rob?
1.
You were captured by outlaws. You are able to pick mechanical locks on the roll of 1 to 2 on a d6. So again, I'll add that. Johannes?
Yep, same.
Okay, yeah, so you were also captured by outlaws and can pick locks.
And people.
Yeah. I was spirited away by Ken Bonobi and then captured by outlaws. There's blatantly going to be an NPC called Ken Bonobi in this game.
Yeah, captured by the band people.
Yeah.
Some roadies took me.
That's it. Okay, so the okay, so there's only 3 more of these left. The next one is adversaries. These are like enemies and people you've crossed in the past. Again, it's a d6.
4.
You have crossed paths with a hostile alien. You have angered a dangerous non-human who wishes to do you harm.
We all got the same thing, so
Did it?
it's blatantly a hut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be some sort of like big hostile alien like syndicate who like you've all crossed. That's absolutely grand. And obviously, what I'm going to do on my day off tomorrow, I'm going to listen back to the recording of all this, and anything I need to add to your character sheets, or like anything I need to note down, I'll do it then. Okay. So the next one is allies, like people you've like made a good impression of. Again, D6.
6.
Okay, 6. You have a mysterious corporate benefactor with deep pockets but unknown motivations. You can call on the aid of your benefactor once per level by making a saving throw. If successful, you receive temporary resources up to 10,000 credits times your level, but you then owe them a favour.
Jesus, that's impressive.
Okay, Johannes, what are your...
Me and Rob both decided to go with a 4 for this one.
All right, you gotta love this. A wise and weary star knight looks on you with kind eyes, occasionally offering you wisdom. A retired Star Knight of 7th level serves as your instructor or allies, but you must keep his location a secret.
Rob,
So that's Ken Benobi, obviously.
are we family? We're from the same planet.
It feels like it.
It does feel like the way's sort of guiding you in that direction when you're both just like, yeah, we're the same. Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah. Should we go brothers? Cousins? Brothers?
Yeah, sure. Whichever we want to. What have we had in games recently? There's been brothers. I guess, yeah, it might be because obviously that would mean that our family is mostly dead. So I was thinking if we decide it's a more distant relation, let's say we're cousins, and our family is mostly dead, something might have happened to, I don't know, destroy our entire lineage, whatever that might have been.
Yeah.
I would say the obvious thing is since you're like a Star Knight, is that was effectively detected by someone, and the Void Knights have want to take your family in a sort of we must destroy the Jedi sort of vibe. And perhaps you were both rescued by Ken Benobi, who took you away to his secretive desert world, and realised gave you some training. Obviously, you weren't in touch with the way so much, Rob. But then he was I've trained you both up as best I can. I'm here if you need me, but the Empire needs to not know I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I'm hiding here, looking like an old man with a ragged brown robe on.
Yeah.
Skulking around moisture farms, staring at young boys.
Yeah. Scaring the locals.
I love to imagine when I see that scene that the Sand People know it's Kenobi, and they're just that old guy's fucking mental. Let's just get out of here and we'll come back later. Yeah, and he's yes, I've scared away the Sand People, and they're really just
I think it's them going oh, it's old man Kenobi again. Quick, everyone, pretend to be scared.
No! Because when he's oh, I'm going to imitate the call of a crate dragon, it's yeah, but you're obviously a dude in a cloak. That's me going I'm going to imitate the call of a rhinoceros, and you just looking at me and being oh my god, he's obviously a rhino.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is critical event. So something important that happened in your life. And this is the last one. So roll your d6s.
2.
Okay. So with 2, you have suffered a critical injury, but you have received a cybernetic replacement. So you will start with 1 cybernetic implant for free. So have you got any thoughts about which part of your body was injured? And obviously I'll add it as equipment to your character sheet.
Let's go with left leg.
Okay, left leg, no problem. You don't have to pay for that. You've already got that. Okay, so
1 for me.
Okay, well, handily for you, you won a light transport in a game of chance. So you guys will be starting off with a light transport ship and no mad debt to criminals to pay it off. So that's quite handy.
Sorry, I was afraid that one was that you died and I'd have to start again.
No, there's literally none on here where you die. All the serials do is go oh, your stats get tweaked a bit, and here's some extra shit.
Is there not one of them that ends up with you dying?
Oh yes, if you roll, if you roll a 6 on the critical event thing.
Oh yeah. Sorry, okay.
But to be honest, I just say re-roll that. I'm not going to make you roll a new character. Yeah. Okay, so Johannes got 3. Okay, so you have located a previously undiscovered hideout, the location of which is known only to you. You have a secret base that no one else knows about, such as an abandoned space station or an undiscovered planet.
Well, holy shit.
Nice.
We have a ship and a base.
Yeah. That's why it makes me laugh when it's these cereals are optional. I'm like,
yeah, how come?
Why would you not just fucking use them? Because all it does is give you extra shit. So yes, have you any thoughts about what sort of form you'd like your secret base to take? Whether you want it to be a planet, a space station,
or killer base,
Starkiller base.
Now witness the power of this fully operational secret base. Stop impersonating a dragon, Ken Benobi. You annoying scrot.
I'm halfway between like a space station that we have basically taken over and like an old like Star Knight temple from yonder days, like or it might even be like a structure of whatever the like the actual big intergalactic empire that fell a long time
like
ago.
A sort of precursor, sort of ancient like thing.
Yeah, like a precursor
that's doable.
ruin on some distant planet that is on no one's map.
All that's known, because it was so incalculably long ago that like these ancients like transported everybody, but like no one really knows anything about them, which is obviously an excuse for like ruins and ancient tech and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to have like a secret ancient base, that's fine. Because I mean, you might not even understand like how half the shit on the base works, but you know enough to like keep it going and like use it as a base.
And best of all, no one knows it's there. So
yeah. So pretty much, where would you like it to be on yon map?
I thoroughly enjoy this, John, because I know the technology you've used to create these. So I find it delicious that I now choose where it is, and you know what's there.
Yeah. Just basically pick a sector. It can be a blank one if you want. It might just be like in the middle of space. So if you just like hold down your left mouse button, you can ping which hex you want it in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, so the spiral ones are black holes.
Yeah, the spiral ones are black holes. The other ones are star systems. Now they can still be sort of research bases and stuff in like systems with black holes, and occasionally the odd planet, but it's a lot rarer.
Yeah. So let's go with. Let's see. Let's go with that space.
Okay.
And reason being why no one has discovered it, because there's not a lot there in current modern charts that is valuable. So people don't really check. And of course, I probably found it. Well, I will have to have found it through some method, which.
Ken Bonobi gave you a dodgy crystal.
Yeah. Oh, can you go pick up some power converters? And this is the address. It's like, oh, Ben.
Oh, you. I apparently can't spell. Yeah. There we go. So I've just quickly marked that down on the map. Obviously, I'll come up with a better name than Secret Ancient Base, but.
Yeah. So
you guys can come up with a fucking name, to be honest, because they know what
Secret Ancient Base kind of does it for me, to be fair.
So what I was thinking is primordial jungle. Maybe this is the only ruin. We probably don't know, but there's
so you're thinking like planet side, yeah?
Yeah, planet side. Planet side, ancient precursor ruin, whose original purpose we probably have no idea about, but we can operate some of the basic systems there.
Yeah. Precursor ruin. Okay. Right, let me change that icon to a more planetary one then.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't specify.
Ah, it's all good. It's all good, man. I've got all these like free icons loaded in anyway, so it's not a problem.
Oh, that's handy.
That will probably do for the minute. There we go. Yeah, one thing to remember, guys, is as well is we've still got like Callie's character, who also gets to roll on all those tables.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, depending on how things go, you may have like multiple secret bases or ships, depending on how Cal's rolls go, basically. And I presume you've got the. Did I make the companion available to you? So you've got the charts to roll on.
Yeah, you do.
Yes,
Yeah,
mate.
you did.
Cool, cool. Well, obviously, you guys have got me on Facebook and you've got my number. So if you do need any help getting Cal to gen up a character, just like holler, basically. And basically, once you've got Cal to like,
fairly easy, mate.
yeah, once you've got Cal to create a character, just like send it over to me as like a Word or a text document or whatever, and I'll set up. Because unfortunately, you can't access this unless I'm like running it on my computer. But once you've sent it down like Facebook as an attachment or whatever, I'll just like create the character. That's not a problem. Okay, so all that's really left for your characters, to be honest, now, because like I say, I'm going to add the other shit, is to basically get your equipment. Which, as I say, just like sort out what you want, because I haven't created all the equipment yet, so I will knock that up between time. You all start off with 3d6 times 10 credits. And the equipment starts on page 28 of the main rulebook that I've given you.
So 11 times 10.
Yep.
Yep.
And what I would suggest you do, guys, is in your character sheets, if you just write down in the notes section, you see basically all of you will have in your notes section, you've got like a brief description of what your class is. If either in the description or in the notes bit, you just write down what equipment you're buying, and I'll get it added to your sheet. Obviously, stick your cyber leg in there, Dave.
Yeah.
Because you get that for free, you don't have to pay for that. Actually, I'm going to look at what a cyber leg does.
In terms of food, then, do these ships generate food, or do we need to worry about that sort of stuff?
I don't believe they generate food. Let me just check. So you guys have got a light freighter, light transport. No, they wouldn't generate food, so you would need supplies of a sort, I assume. Yeah, and rations are listed on the thing. And I don't know for sure, to be honest, but I'm going to assume that for like every hex you move, because obviously it's like quite a long distance, you would need to like consume a ration.
Okay.
Okay.
Because obviously the slight downside to like moving through space is obviously in like OSC, you're travelling like 10 miles or whatever, so you can move like 6 hexes and then be like, oh, a day's gone like nom nom nom. Whereas in this, sort of like you're moving like light years with each hex, so. Cyber leg. What's the betting they've put like cybernetics and some like separate thing. Because they can't have just anything in the content section. It just says cybernetics. That'd be far too sensible. Here we go. Advanced equipment. Cybernetic legs. Cybernetic legs increase a character's speed by up to +3 movement. They allow you to leap up to twice the distance of a normal human. That's pretty handy. Yeah, and the way it seems to work in White Star is basically the advanced equipment section is like the equivalent of like magic items in like D&D.
Yeah.
So like cybernetics and stuff, it's not stuff you can just roll up to like a space station and be like, give us a cyber eye.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a listed cost. It's not available for purchase at character creation. Obviously, you've got it because of your serial role. Expensive and rare. Yeah, they're basically like treasure items that you go out and find rather than just normal equipment you buy.
Nice.
And obviously, I believe you start with a star sword. Johannes.
Yeah.
Should all have the default abilities for your class already on there. The only thing you'll need to pick, Johannes, is like your meditations. So you should have it. You've got the spells tab, which will effectively use for that.
I get fuck all at level 1. So
yeah, I don't think you actually get any meditations at level 1, do you?
Yeah,
As
it's just Star Sword, and then level 2 is when the magic happens.
So. That's when you see like the ghost of like Ken Benobi.
So, John, are you using any of the house rules in the attributes section? I know that they've put
let me have a look.
a house rule for every attribute.
Yeah, there's so many fucking house rules in this, man. House rule, Dex for armor class. Rolling attributes. Strength for combat. Right, I'm gonna throw it over to you guys. To be honest, I have no objection to using these house rules, but I think if we're going to use them, we should use either all or none of them. So the house rules in there are basically, if you're a mercenary or an alien brute, you can add your strength bonus to like your 2-hit roll, and like your damage with like handheld weapons. The house rule for intelligence, alien mystics can gain a bonus on like using their alien gifts. Wisdom, Star Knights can use the wisdom bonus to gain a bonus on like meditations. And Dex, it adds your Dex bonus, adds to your armor class. So if you guys want to use those, we can use all of them. I've got no problems with it.
Yeah, I'm happy to use them if everyone else is.
Okay, so basically, if anyone's got a Dex of 15 or higher, you will be getting a +1 to your armor class. Anyone who's got a Dex of 3 to 6 will get a -1 to their armor class. And for our mercenary, you will get, if you've got have you got a strength of 15 plus?
No, I went with Dex because I'm going to be a shooter.
Okay, in which case you don't have to worry about the strength modifier then. So that's pretty much it for the optional rules, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird how they, especially for strength, how they word it, because
Yeah.
in the actual description for strength. A high strength can give your character bonuses when attacking with a star sword or another handheld weapon called a melee weapon. And then it goes into the house rules and says mercenaries and alien brutes can use their strength modifier to bone.
Yeah.
And it starts out with saying everyone gets it. And then it says, by the way, if you want to use these rules, these two character classes can use the bonus. I don't...
No, it's
I think
weird.
the whole house rule is both the attack and the hit and the damage.
Yeah, but what Yanis is saying, that like in the write-up, it initially makes it sound like if you've got high strength, regardless of your class, you get that bonus. But then the house rule specifically says it's only these two classes, which he's right. The write-up does make it sound like everyone gets the bonus from strength. But I'm assuming that's like something which was in like an earlier draft and they've just not like edited it out properly.
Yeah, and I don't think you ever get bonuses for to damage.
No.
Is that what the house rule is, though?
The house rule is to hit.
No, I think with the house rule you get it to damage as well.
Yeah.
See?
That's the second.
Oh yeah. That is true.
But again, only for the two classes.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to nip to the loo, guys. I'll be back in a couple of...
Yep. Yeah, that's strange because by just like a baseline reading of strength as an attribute, even without the house rules stuff, it doesn't do anything. Because it doesn't spell out what it does, and all the other ones do. Because
I think it's part of the problem because when you use the fantasy ones, because you're basically when you move into space, there should be way less melee.
Yeah,
and it's a whole attribute dedicated to melee in the core games. Okay.
Right, so we've basically got you guys as smugglers and rogues. Thanks to Rob's character, you're starting with a light freighter, which obviously I'll make a sheet for. You've also got your secret jungle ancient base as marked on the map. You've got at least one criminal cartel who's not terribly fond of you. You've got a 7th level Jedi called Ken Manobi who's like acting as a mentor, but he's like on another fucking hidden world, like somewhere in this sector. So
he's on an ocean planet. There's a little bit with the rocks and the blue milk.
Yeah, when the sort of sea people approaches, he pretends to be like a giant seal.
Gets the ball out, bounces it around.
Okay, so it seems... So we were talking about Rob and Johannes, your characters potentially being related, given how similar your results were.
Mm-hmm.
So have we got any... Do we reach any sort of decision on like, how you want to be related?
Do we want to go with the bad guys tracked us down because they think we might have mystic powers?
Yeah, I think that one makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so our family dad like killed by Empire.
Yeah. Burns in the desert.
I say just a skeleton.
Yeah.
Oh, we were at the old moisture farm. Okay.
I guess.
Do we want to bring your force mentor into the in as the person who rescued you? Like, if we want to go like wholly cliched with it, or
yeah, did we escape by our own damn selves, or did we get?
Yeah, as you're escaping, your uncle was like, "Save the dream." Uncle, you could come with us. You don't have to die. No. Just go. Save the dream. I see. I'm already
trying to think that we were rescued
Star
by
Wars
your...
accent's going to do.
Yeah.
So you're thinking you were trying to rescue by who? Sorry,
We were
John?
rescued by this person who went on to train Johannes subsequently.
This little blue gremlin thing. With
Yeah.
big ears.
Let's see. Called Adoy.
Called yogurt, mate.
Yogurt. The swatch is strong with you. Best believe he's being called Kambanobi. That fucking name's too good to resist. Okay, so you were rescued by Kambanobi. I'm going to assume that he then took you to his hideaway.
Yeah.
And you were trained there.
Yeah. Desert Ninja.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Where do I put this 5 stat?
I put mine in charisma.
Yeah, we might as well.
And if you listen, you can just hear the voice of the way going, dumb stat.
And
There's not a D&D player alive who, when they get a low score, doesn't go charisma.
And we've lived in the desert
Yeah,
for quite a while.
You're probably a little bit socially maladjusted. You've just grown up with old Kambanobi on this desert world, being trained for 20 or so years, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, you train now. Go off and do your thing."
Yeah,
And
and every time
don't tell anyone on here.
Yeah, every time we were like, "Mr. Benobi, what happened to our parents?" he's like,
"Well, whenever I met your father, he was already the finest pilot I've seen."
"No, take this sword and get fucking training."
That's it. Now this small round of droid's going to orbit around you and shoot lasers at you while I laugh. Crack on with your training.
I believe the saying goes, "Dance, bastard, dance."
Go on, dance for me.
Yeah, Alec Guinness is a fantastic actor.
Okay.
Apparently, he was pissed at the fucking movie. He did not enjoy that.
Yeah, well, when he looked at the script, he was like, "This is some old horse shit." He was like, "I'm like a proper actor."
Yeah,
What's
give
all
me
this bullshit?
theatre.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm thespian.
Okay, so Dave, we know that you've got a.
I got fucked up, is what I got, mate.
Well, yeah, there is that. Who was it you had as a? Was it a hostile alien you had as an adversary?
Yeah, I've got cross path of a violent criminal, and I've got a mysterious corporation benefactor.
Okay, so criminal, violent agent, alien, and a. Okay. So criminal, hostile, alien, corporate benefactor. Okay, so have you got any thoughts about how you came? I mean, is this hostile alien and this criminal, are they one and the same? Are they related to each other? I mean, have you got Darth Maul's criminal syndicate after you, or are they two separate things?
I think Shabba the Hutt's probably after me.
Okay, I'll lump those together then. Jabba the Hutt.
Gabba the butt.
Pizza face.
My name is Habba the Jut. And how about your corporate benefactor? Have you any thoughts with regards to that? Because obviously it's someone with money. Because once per level you can be give me that saving throw, and if you make it, it's at first level it's here's 10k of money. Will you owe me a favour? So it's got someone who can just be like, "Oh, 10k, there you go, you owe me." It's someone who's rich, because like most people don't just like give away 10k like it's fucking chump change.
It's probably someone that I've already done a favour for, and I've been quite decent at it. So let's go with a trader of some description, probably dealing in parts for ships.
Okay, so someone you've worked for, trader dealing in ship parts. Okay. Now, because I can't remember all of your roles for your backgrounds off the top of my head, is there any bits in your background, like from your serial bit, that you guys think might benefit from like a little bit of extra fleshing out, like pre-game?
I'm just looking back through mine. So I was born on a dangerous world. Most of my family's dead.
Yep.
I was sold into slavery.
Yep.
I then escaped.
Is that perhaps why Jabba the Hutt's after you? Were you like sold into slavery for Jabba the Hutt and you escaped?
That's it. Let's go with that, yeah.
Okay.
And somewhere I lost a leg.
Maybe while you were escaping.
That's what I was thinking. It's just like got snagged whilst I was escaping, caught in the landing gear or something.
See now I'm envisioning like this like evil sort of Jabba the Hutt equivalent, whatever alien I come up with. Like when he's like chasing you down, he's just got like a picture frame behind his desk and there's just like a preserved like leg in it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get the rest of you and like add it to that leg I took all those years ago."
Is it in a goddamn Bacta tank and it's still alive, and he's just waiting to get the rest of you back? It's like, I will put that leg back on your body, boy. You go back in the mines.
Kill your hole.
Yeah.
Either that or depending on how sick he is, maybe he's like, "And when I get you, I'm gonna beat you to death with your own leg."
Yeah. I mean, depends how pissed off he is, I guess.
Got the wrong leg to beat me to death with, mate. I've got the metal one.
That's it, yeah.
We're gonna have
to
a
be
leg
honest,
off.
I'd have been happy if you'd have taken both of them. I'd have had 2 metal legs. Okay. Has anyone else got any bits of their background they think would benefit from a bit of extra fleshing out?
I think I'm good. I've got the whole hero's journey here.
That's it. Well, that's why I wanted to use the serials, because it means you don't have to come up with a vastly expansive background,
Yeah.
but it gives you a bit more than just like, "Hello, I'm a mercenary. Let's work together." But that is something to consider as well. Like, what is it that's? How did you guys like come together as a group? I mean, also we know that Rob and Johannes' characters are like related.
Well, I guess when we found our ship, we had to hire a pilot, right?
Yeah. Because looking at my character, I can do push-ups and wisdom. Like,
It's a short CV.
And I can shoot stuff.
Well, I was going to suggest, how about like you guys have got the ship, maybe you had a previous pilot who like died or left for some reason, then perhaps like Dave's character was like on this world and like the criminals are like on his tail and he's like, "Oh fucking hell, I need to like get out of here but quick." Then he sees like you guys are like, "Oh yeah, we're advertising for like a pilot," and he's like, "Oh, I'm the best pilot for 5 parsecs."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, we can't offer much money," and he's like, "Yeah, it's all right, it's fine." Because obviously you just need to like get out of Dodge.
Because I can do the Tesla run in 10 parsecs.
So yeah, the Tesla run. But only while I'm wearing this spiky white wig.
That's it.
So how does that sound to everybody? As like a sort of, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Does anyone remember what I rolled on the ally?
let me have a look.
Oh, I'm the same as Johannes. Sorry, that's what it was. Yeah. It's the
Benobi.
same.
Oh,
Ken
so-
Benobi.
Benobi.
yeah.
Ken Benobi, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That was when we decided we had to be related. Yeah.
Okay, so Johannes and Rob, you lost former pilot,
Yeah.
hiring new pilot. Dave wants a quick getaway from criminals. signed on. And then obviously we'll, depending on what Cal gets as well, we'll sort of work a character into this. I'm sure between all of us we can find a way to fit a character in.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a massive problem. I can't remember if we asked, sorry.
Could be the estranged twin, mate.
I can't remember if we asked, did she have any idea of what sort of thing she wanted to play yet, or... I may have asked earlier.
No, like I say, she's fairly open. Mercenary, probably more her thing.
Okay.
I don't see her being a very good Star Knight. Jedi.
Okay. I'll put that Merc with a question mark. Okay. Well, I think we're pretty much sorted, guys. We've got the basics of the setting. You've all got your characters. I just need to add a few things to it. We know you've got a ship, you've got a secret base, you've got access to a second secret world that like Ken Benobi's on. Yeah, I think we're good, to be honest. We've already pretty much got we've got like an antagonist as a criminal syndicate, which are obviously like after you, Dave, and by extension the rest of the crew. We know that at least two of the crew.
I won't tell them that. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, we know at least like two of the crew have got a bit of a beef with like the Empire for like killing all their family.
And they're still probably after us.
Yeah. And obviously the whole Star Knight thing means we can do the whole thing with like they've got like Void Knights who are like hunting down like users of the way to either like corrupt them or destroy them.
So one thing I haven't done is spend my cred, John. So given that I can't access the Foundry, shall I send you a thing on Facebook?
Yeah, if you just write it in a text file or whatever,
yeah,
and attach it to like a message.
Yeah.
Likewise with you guys, if you want to do that, if you want to take some more time to.
I've added mine. They just need to be. I've added them as items. They just need to be cleaned up.
Oh, sweet. I keep forgetting, Rob, that you probably know how to use Foundry better than I do.
I don't know about that.
Oh, mate, you should have seen me when I was trying to like make the system from scratch, mate. Oh, the documentation's so bad. I was like, I don't mind like documentation that's sparse, but like when like the documentation's just wrong, that's like a whole different ball game. And that's why I went with the OSE stuff in the end, because it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, White Star only uses one save instead of like death ones and all that. I'll just make them all the same. Then it doesn't matter which one you click on.
Yeah.
And obviously, for anyone who's not aware, when you're looking at your character sheet, you can just like click on an attribute to roll that. The saves are like death, poison, wands, and whatever. So if I say make a save, you can just click on any of them to roll it. When I've added your items in the inventory tab, like weapons, you'll just be able to like hover over the icon and it'll turn into a little dice, and you can just click on it to like roll that.
Nice.
Obviously, attributes works as you'd expect. It rolls a d20, and if you get like equal to or below the number, you've succeeded, and it'll tell you on the roll.
Never mind. I've just noted the prices of things. I will be done shopping very soon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Well, like I say, to be honest, guys, I have no like time limits this evening, so
Yeah.
we can go for as long as we want. For me, to be honest,
Yeah.
because like if we were running an actual game, we'd probably run until like 10:30 anyway. So
So we're talking about what we want the first mission to be.
yeah, I'm quite happy for you guys to chat about that, and also I'll take some notes. I think what I'll probably do just for like the first session. I'm assuming is everyone okay with me like recording and streaming these sessions?
Yeah.
I assumed you all would be because you've all been in sessions I've streamed before. But I like to check when I do a game, because I'll see if one or two of you guys was like, actually no, I'm not. I'll be like, fair enough. We'll just run it and we won't bother streaming it. makes no odds to me. It's not like I'm going to retire on that YouTube money I'm not getting.
those checks.
Yeah. I think I've made about, in all the time I've been on YouTube for like fucking year, I think I've made like 20 quid. Like, yeah, and that was before they changed their algorithm. And now it's like virtually impossible to like make actual money off YouTube unless you're like a ridiculously popular channel. And even they make all the money off like Patreon and merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, what I tend to like to do in, and this is just a suggestion. It's not like a dyed in the wall thing. What I tend to like to do for a first session in a game like this is sort of start you off in like a sort of like immediate res, like in like an action scenario. So rather than like starting off and being like, oh, you're in a space station. You know, what do you want to do? Do you want to go off some job? You'll like start off in like a firefight or some sort of like a space chase or something like a bit high action, so we can get in there straight away, make a few rolls, or get used to the system, and then you can sort of like crack on and do what you want from there, basically.
Space chase is a good idea. That's one I was kind of, because if we're just rescuing Dave from Jabba, so we could just be straight into the space chase, you know, yeah, that kind of.
Well, why don't we, since we've discussed it as part of the background, why don't we start off like just after you guys have like hired Dave's character on? So we can maybe have like that sort of three-way thing, like as you guys want to get out of there quickly because you're like on the fucking Empire.
Yeah.
And Dave's like, I want to get out of it because them criminals. And maybe we have like a bit of a sort of three-way like thing, so like, as you guys are running out, you know, you've got like the Imperial soldiers like coming to try and get you, and like the criminals, so which has the handy thing of like they're probably going to like mix it up with each other as well, so they're not all going to be able to like concentrate everything on you guys. So then we could have like a bit of like, maybe you're on like a space station or whatever, and we could have like the bit where you guys are like fighting your way into the hangar bays, like getting to your ship, flying off, maybe like a few fighter craft like coming after you and whatever, you know, the whole like, oh yeah, we've got to like outdistance them so we can like jump to like the next hex or whatever.
Hyperspace subject color.
Okay. So I'll make a note of that. And like I say, since we all sort of know the background, what I'll probably do is I'll probably literally like drop you guys in when you're sort of like you're in the hangar bay and like the Imperial soldiers are like firing in through the doors, and like the criminals are turning up, yeah, and we'll just like kick straight off from there with like straight into the action. Then I'll see you guys get on the ship and it'll be like, oh no, there's Imperial fighters coming after us. Obviously, I will come up with some better names. I'm keeping Ken Benobi, but I'm not going to like just rejig Star Wars names for all of them. But at worst, I'll just be like, they're Imperial fighter ships.
Really, I don't think it's too big a deal if they are.
So, what kind of a noise does a fighter make?
They don't make any noise 'cause it's space. But
you and your realism, John.
As we all know, because this is based on like Star Wars, both like gravity and like sound exist in space.
Yeah, and fire.
That's why you can have like space bombers that can like drop bombs from space.
Yeah,
because that's a thing.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like it's not like bombers as a concept in space is beyond the pale. It's just that it doesn't work that way. You do it differently, but you can do it.
It's like literally all they needed to do with that scene was like just have like a throwaway line like, oh, it's some sort of launcher that like propels them towards it, and then you'd be like, well, yeah. So once you've started them going, until it meets something, like nothing's going to stop it. But it's just the way they're just like, oh, we're going to drop the bombs. And it's like, in space doesn't work like that. Even I know that. But yeah, obviously we will have like sound in space and stuff like that, because like I said, we're ripping off Star Wars shamelessly, so why not? So yeah, they'll either sound like someone at like the Monaco Grand Prix, or it'll be that like that the TIE fighters do. And I'll probably go online and see if I can find some like royalty free like Star Wars style sound effects, because I can like cue up music and shit like that. See, if I can find some that like I'm not going to get sued for using, I'll probably use them.
Yeah. I don't know, John, by the way, if you're keeping up with that stuff, but Twitch is now a place where you want to be careful.
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
With yon audio bits.
Yeah.
So
certainly for OSE, all of the music I've got for that is royalty free. I checked it beforehand, or public domain, and likewise for this game, I'm going to look for royalty free or public domain. So obviously it won't be exact like Star Wars sound effects, but like I'll find like something that's similar.
Yeah.
Because like you say, if Twitch are like, I have to be able to say like, oh no, look, I got it from here. It's like royalty free.
Yeah, and it might not even come to that, because they've been bombarded. The music industry has now figured out how to scan all of Twitch's shit, and Twitch is basically going, yo, we're actually not going to process these. We're just going to chop your head off. So,
although to be fair, if I got bounced from Twitch, I wouldn't cry, because like, for me, Twitch is basically like, oh, you're like the annoying bit I have to do before I transfer it to YouTube. So like, if I got bounced from Twitch, I'd just be like, well, I'll just save it on my computer and I'll upload it to YouTube later instead of like exporting it from Twitch.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I monitor the Twitch chat while I'm running a game to like interact with people on there, because I'm like, I'm busy running the game.
Yeah, you're running the game.
Yeah, and then it's like my main. Although if people watch it on Twitch or YouTube and enjoy it, that's great. But as I've said to you guys numerous times, the main reason I put them on YouTube is so like, if I need to, I can watch them back to like reference stuff, like if I forget stuff. So if other people enjoy watching them, that's great. I mean, bizarrely, like the OSE games are like really popular on like the audio podcast versions I've put up, like really popular. And that was just someone basically went, oh, is there any chance you could make like audio versions of like your OSE games available? And I was like, yeah, I suppose. I've got an old podcast account, like my old Anchor podcast account I'm not doing anything with. I'll just stick them on there, and like we're getting like 200-300 like listens for each episode, which I'm surprised at, because I'd have thought like, oh, you know, it's like a role play game with all like online shit, you probably want to see it. But
I have to say, some of the podcasts, the Real Play Live Play podcasts are good.
Yeah. I mean, literally with the OSE stuff, all I do is I just like rag the sound out of the video file, and then like where there's a big break in the middle where we have like a 10-minute break, I just delete that and then just upload the sound file. I don't do any editing to them or anything like that. I just upload them. But yeah, people seem to like that, so I may put these up as well on there. See how we go.
Oh yeah, no, it's good that the interest is there, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. Like I said, I only did it because in one of the roleplay Discords I'm on, someone whose podcast I listen to and like listens to mine was just like, any chance you could put audio versions up, because it's that the person is actually like they're registered blind, and they were like, oh, like YouTube's not really like, doesn't really work great for me. Any chance you could put an audio version, because I love listening to like audio plays. I was like, yeah, it takes me like an extra 5 minutes. I'll stick them up if only like this one person listens to them. No skin off my nose, but yeah, like quite a lot of people, I think, who was still subscribed to my old podcast when I used to use it as a podcast, because I've got like a different account with a different company for a current one. I think a lot of people who are subscribed to that, which is like, oh, some new episodes coming out, and I'm like, I listen to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I was quite surprised it was so popular.
So, John, I have 2 extra languages. Do we want to handle those in that way that we've done before, where like when we encounter the language, you go, I speak this? Or... Yeah,
that's absolutely fine if that's how people want to do it. Because obviously we've not really defined a load of like alien races at the moment. Mm-hmm. Or if you, you can do it that way, or if you prefer, if you want to like make up an alien race now, mm-hmm. and sort of give me like a broad description of them, I'll make sure they are in the setting. It's entirely up to you. Or like you say, you can just save it, and when I go like, oh, the hut comes up and it's like, oh, you can be like, oh yeah, I speak hut. I'll be like, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
When he's like chasing after David, he's like, Ichawa leggy weggy.
Oh.
I kind of like the idea that the sand people of Ken Benobi's secret world. I kind of like the idea that they would be a species,
Okay.
like more widespread than just the one
Just
planet.
like primitives on the planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the primitives are of the same species, but they're just like the backwater colony that maybe the planet truly is forgotten, and they just don't have the technology to leave, and they've been there for a long ass time.
Well, that certainly works. I mean, obviously, that could explain why you speak their language. 'Cause you've trained on that world.
Yeah.
So
I have a
well.
name as well.
Oh, sweet.
I was looking up names, and I just put down interesting sounding stuff, and I think this might, in Zoom chat, that might be
Banterrook. Okay.
a name for the. I guess, like, what kind of society would they have? Obviously,
We're saying that they're like that they're a star.
yeah, they're a
race.
species. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I suppose what we should do as well is, while we're doing this, we should probably also think a bit about what like Ken Benobi's like secret worlds are like.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're sort of sketching these in roughly, so we'll probably go for like the Star Wars vibe of like, it's a jungle planet, it's an ice planet, it's what I mean. Obviously we know that's not realistic, but it's a Star Wars game.
Give him the underwater place from Naboo, mate.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you want Ken Benobi's world to be like an ocean world, maybe he's got like an underwater base, and that's how he's like laying low. Like maybe,
Oh yeah, that gives some very interesting options if like stuff happens there, because it gets pretty wild if you do like this kind of like fantasy sci-fi stuff, and you take in actual like oceans.
Yeah,
You could do a bunch of cool stuff in there.
Okay, so I'll put down ocean world, underwater base. So, what do these Banterrook look like?
I guess if it's an ocean planet, they would be. Yeah, I was saying we don't get enough fish people. It's fish people.
They're fish people. Okay, cool.
So,
I'm fine with that.
let me look up a reference thing here.
I love the fact that your character's last name's Geezer. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, Geezer.
It's work in progress.
Hey, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
And that seems to work quite well, because quite a lot of the sort of Star Wars characters, they've got like one like weird name, which is all like future and sci-fi, and then it's have like a normal name. So like you've got like Luke Skywalker. Luke's normal. Skywalker, bit sci-fi. You've got like Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, one is a more regular name, and one is an actual homage to your primary source material.
That's it, exactly. Okay, so we've got Balan Geezer and Tan Geezer for Rob and Johannes, and we've got Tylo Dolph for Dave. Excellent.
From a languages perspective, I'd be interested in I guess, kind of militaristic race. Kind of like the Klingons, where kind of brute strength is kind of everything.
So Martial race. I'll put Klingon-esque.
But I'd also like, because I have this kind of engineering, mechanical type background,
Okay.
that they're also kind of quite advanced. And perhaps I spent some years there while Johannes was doing his Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the bottom of the ocean in a sensory deprivation tank, meditating.
Interesting thing. We talked about on Naboo how there's like two races and they sort of don't really meet. Is this race present on the ocean world?
Yeah, that would make sense, right?
I mean, obviously they're a spacefaring race; they're advanced.
Yeah.
But like, maybe they have a base on the ocean world. Like, perhaps you spent some time with them while you were there, because you've been on the ocean world. Okay, so have base on ocean world. Okay, so do you want to take a punt at coming up with a name for these races? Although, if you don't want to, I'm sure I can find like a random alien name generator and just like bosh out.
Yeah,
or you can yourself if you've got a name generator.
Sorry, I can't think of that except Klingon. Sorry, that's just...
Yeah, no, that's
because
fine. As soon as you said Klingon, like Klingon was just like locked into my mind.
Yeah, I just... Because I was trying to think of something that kind of fit my background.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of it. And then but once... I can't think of a name. But, yeah, I should... There's probably a few in the White Star Companion as well.
Yeah, I'm trying not to use the races out of the White Star books because they are like such blatant rip-offs of like races from like other things. I know we're sort of ripping off Star Wars, but
sorry, I haven't read that much of it. Just
we'll put it this way: there's a race in there called the Quingons. And there's another race in there. I can't remember what they're called, but they're blatantly the Daleks out of Doctor Who. And they go around shouting "Annihilate" all the time.
Okay. Well, there's an alien species name generator. Let's see what they say. Calgon.
Well, all I know about Calgon is that washing machines live longer with it. So.
Yeah. Chapro. The Kuulgak might work.
How's that spelled?
I'll just post it in now, but it's Kuulgak.
Okay, Kuulgak. Okay, so they're sort of like a vaguely Klingon-esque race, very martial. So I'm presuming you said you wanted them to be Klingon-esque. They're probably like quite into the honour, let's say, very sort of martial society.
Yeah.
But they have more advanced technology.
Yeah.
And they have a base on the secret waterworld. You spent time with them whilst your buddy boy there was getting his Force user training on. Let's see if I can bring up this picture. Oh, very nice.
It's more of a mollusk, but
That's fine.
aquatic coolness plus tentacles. So
No problems. I'll save that picture in my White Star folder. So that is a Bantarok. And obviously, if you want to do likewise, Rob, if you want, you don't have to, and find like a picture that looks a bit like what you think of these Kuulgak are going to look like. And likewise, Dave, if you want to try and find a picture of like the aliens who've like got like the Hut equivalents who've got like a mad-on for getting your character.
Yep.
And either I can come up with a name for him or you can come up with a name for him. It's up to you.
So apparently in Foundry, you probably need to set your language module or whatever, because it's the standard fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do that. I think that's hard coded into the actual module. So
Okay.
what I would suggest you do is I'll suggest you just put it down in like the notes section.
All right.
Because I'm pretty sure when I looked at it previously, that's sort of like built into like the old school essentials like rules thing. I don't think it can be changed. Because even though like we don't have a lot of those races in like old school essentials, I've had to just like leave them in there.
So I've now added into my notes languages, Balactic Gasic, Bantarook, and +1.
Cool.
I will do the same then.
Okay, and the next thing I'm going to ask Johannes and Rob to do, I mean, obviously, talking out between yourself, but where would you like the second secret world to be? Although it's not like ridiculously secret because like there's two different races there, but
Yeah.
it's where Ken Bonovi is hiding.
Yeah, I think it's like there's nothing there is the reason why it's.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you guys select like an empty sector, I'll just put like another world marker there, like I've done with your secret entry.
I was thinking 1400, which is kind of top right.
Just ping it, mate.
Sorry, that one there, yeah.
Okay, so there's already a system there.
Yeah, that's fine. It seems like a very good place. It's on the edge there, and much like Tatooine, it's not like Tatooine was a secret place, but
yeah,
so
it's just very unremarkable. A veritable backwater, literally.
The Mandalorian is out today or recently.
Yeah, I think it's a Friday show.
Okay, so I'll just put a little text note on there to remind me that it's there.
Would you consider moving the ones near it a step further away to make it a little bit more isolated? I don't think it's a big deal. It's just
I can do. I'd prefer not to. I mean, bear in mind that each hex is like a light year, so there's still a fair amount of distance between
yeah.
them.
That's fine. Just a thought.
I mean, if you wanted it to be more isolated, we could move it to here and just like have the ocean world there because there's like nothing for like 2 light years around that hex.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Zero Sector, where it all began.
In which case,
We should call it Miranda.
okay, so let's plonk a world icon down there.
I do like the fact that I ended up playing the Star Knight, and we're like from a high gravity world, so like just corded muscle, stout, heavily built, strong bones.
That's it. Well, to be honest, that's probably quite useful when you like spent time in an ocean world.
Yeah, no, it's probably quite.
Like precious, like deep underwater and whatever.
Yeah. And having a fairly sturdy body does help with the swimming as well.
Okay.
Not so much the like weighty muscles, but yeah, otherwise.
Right. So the name of the huts is Capis. Oh, I love the picture.
That jacket is incredible.
That's a pimp jacket and a half. That is, man.
That's a statement.
I've already like looked at this picture and I'm like, all right, the Kappas are like obviously like intergalactic space pimps.
Slavery wasn't all nice.
That's it, yeah. All right, cool. I'll save that.
I like that he has a regular as cigarette.
That's it, man. Well,
You don't know if he's a bad guy if he's not smoking.
Yeah.
well, that's it. In space, no one can hear you.
No one can hear you vape.
Yeah, no one can hear you puff puff pass.
I'm imagining him being like, we run the biggest death stick operation this side of the western half of the galaxy. Now bring me some more hose.
Yeah, when someone says they're blowing smoke up your ass, it's not good. It's not with these guys.
Okay, so have you had any thoughts for like a picture or anything for your Kolgak?
I flicked one in there. I don't know if they're martial enough. I'm just having a look.
Let's have a look.
They look a little
that
bit
looks so
tendery,
cute.
don't they?
That,
They look
that,
more-
that looks a bit on the cute side.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I've got an idea. Just give us a second.
Oh, I haven't.
Let's have a look. Is it the one with the spikes on his face? Because the link just goes to like the Google search.
Okay. Let me send it to you. It's the one with the sword. Let me see that one. Is that one any better?
A second. Oh yeah, sort of like vaguely sort of like wolf-like blue skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely grand. And they're even colour coded appropriately for an ocean world. Save that. So, already, without adding anything else in, we've already got like 3 alien species, which we know we've got like one big like martial sort of like but advanced species. We've got the fish people from Kembanovi's world, but who are also spread out. So they've at least got a certain level of technology to be spacefaring.
Yeah, I think they would be the sort of because we want niches, right, for these people.
Yeah.
So I think because we have the martial and then we have presumably the sort of commerce. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, pimping ain't easy, but it is business. So we have the space capitalists and the space militarists. So what do we figure for the fishies?
Maybe they could be like espionage based, or
I was thinking Mystic because
they could be mystic. Yeah, maybe
that's
they're
the whole Star Knight thing, and that would make sense why you would settle there as Star Knight.
maybe they're like naturally attuned to the way.
Yeah.
It might also explain why they're like a bit secretive as a species, because obviously they don't want to be like, hey, we all know how to use the way. Oh no, please don't wipe us out, Empire.
Yeah, maybe they are sort of like reclusive, but they can be found quite in quite the many places because, well, they follow the way. The way directs, gives visions, tells them to go to places, build temples, that kind of thing.
Excellent. I'll write that down. And obviously, I'll drop in like a handful of like other random alien species as well. Although, what I'll probably do is I'll tell you what, I'll do it now while we're now. I'm probably just going to roll like a d6 and go like, that's how many extra alien species there are. Because I don't want to go like too mental with it.
Is one of them going to be Yabnabs?
Oh, there we go. So, no, it's fucking not going to be Yabnabs. Okay, so that's another 6 alien species. So I'll come up with some of them for the first session.
Do we think there'd be kind of corporations as factions as well, or would it just be kind of smaller traders enterprise thing, or do we think that they'll actually?
I assume there's people there. Hello, people, if you're there.
Hey, Hannah.
Rob says hey.
Just Rob.
No, I've got Dave Hodgkins, Rob Fitzpatrick, and Johannes.
Oh, it's Hannah, isn't it? There we go.
Dave's doing like the Live Long and Prosper on the screen.
Yeah.
You're right, you.
Yeah, it just feels more like a good day to die today.
Oh.
Yeah,
All right.
I was just looking for I love you.
Out of you. Yeah, so I'll come up with 6 alien species. We've already got 3. Gives us a grand total of 9 sort of common species for this sector, as well as humans, obviously. So I think that's probably plenty to be going on with. I've also, whilst we were looking at that, I've been trying to find a decent picture for what like the sort of Imperial soldiers might look like. I don't know if I can bring this picture up. Copy link address. Let's see if this works. This is going to take you to the search. That's annoying. I'm thinking possibly something like this. You know, just so there can be like no doubt whatsoever that like the Imperial troops aren't that friendly.
Yeah. That looks good.
And for anyone who remembers sci-fi series of yesteryear, those are the Chigs from Space Above and Beyond.
Tell you what, John, we could use some Brannon G.
In what sense?
in the sense of singing aliens.
Oh yeah. Alright, let me just scribble down into one of the species. I'll put Brunin G. Why not?
A warrior species that lives, I guess for the story, really, to make.
Yeah, they live to create like a grand saga.
Yeah, like their whole thing is about finding an end worthy of remembrance.
That's fine. That's one fucking alien species locked in for me. And obviously, yeah, if anyone, so I say I've got 6 of these alien species to fill in, I'm perfectly happy to do it. But if anyone's like got like a cool idea for like, oh, this is a sort of alien I'd like to see in the setting, feel free to shout out. Like Giannis has just done there with like the Bruder G. I've just scribbled that down, and obviously I'll flesh that out a bit and put them in. So we've got like a race of like warrior scolds like yomping around the galaxy, like singing like battle hymns as they like go into battle. Obviously, like probably got big speakers on the outside of the ships because we know sound travels through space in Star Wars.
Intimidate the enemy.
So they're sort of like playing like Ride of the Valkyries as they're like flying their fighter ships into battle. I imagine that like I imagine that most of their sort of like warriors, instead of having like big capital ships, probably like their entire fleet is like single fighter craft, like Brun and G style, because like instead of being like, oh, we are a monolithic like military, we're a collection of like individual heroes trying to like do our own hero thing.
A small band of blades against darkness.
That's it. I can imagine why they've probably not done very well against the evil empire, because they're like, we are like monolithic military who works at military precision, and they're like on a 1-to-1 we're like the shit. However, like we don't work together as like a unified force, because everyone's like, I must die a hero's death.
And yeah, because their whole thing is they're killing all the members of their species, trying to find the hero that defeats the empire. It's like, oh, is this the one? Oh, it wasn't. Well, there's like 16,000 more.
That's it, exactly. I imagine they probably have like fairly high birth rates, or they mature fairly quickly, because obviously if you're like, every time like an enemy appears, all of your warriors are like, let's go and die heroically. Obviously, lots of them are going to die.
Yeah, probably a reason why the memory is so important, because if their sort of like life expectancy is limited, because of their biology, as well as the insane lust for like sagas.
Yeah, I'd imagine that like, I'd imagine that like their sort of history is mainly sort of like an oral history.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of like, oh, we've got a database with all like historical events, they're probably like, oh, you know, we've got like ancient hologrammatic records of like ancient like members of the species like telling the heroic sagas and whatever. Space bards.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I can rock with that. That's grand. But yeah, like I say, has anyone got any suggestions for like
I have
sort of aliens you'd like to see?
one. You know the Reavers in Serenity. That kind of you know, basically got lost on the void of space and just, you know, basically mad. I've gone mad.
You're like mad space barbarians, like berserkers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, are we thinking that these would actually be like a race of mad space berserkers, or are we going to go the Serenity route that like they're humans, but they've looked too far?
No, I thought we'd go with a race of barbarian types. I don't think they have to be like full on, you know, can't talk to them like they are in Serenity, but that kind of more the concept of these barbarians who kind of rock in and burn everything and then kind of run away.
Yeah, I quite like the idea, right? You know, like how the Reavers, like they have all like the old tatty spaceships that are like smokes pissing out of them, and like they're basically like nailed people to like the outside of their ships, and they just fucking cobble them together.
Yes, that is aesthetic. Yeah, but I think a race is better than trying to bring in.
Oh, that's grand. We can do that. And that's quite nice as well, because we can effectively have them as sort of like, because they probably don't have a home world, but they can be like roving like bands of them, sort of like roaming around, which are like a sort of ever present sort of like threat in the area.
Yeah.
So you know, like how in your fantasy setting, like you can't like freaking go for like more than a few days without like, oh my god, there's like roving band of orcs in the mountains. They're like the space equivalent of that. Okay. Anyone else got any other ideas for like alien types you'd like to see? If you haven't, that's fine. I can easily fill it.
Yeah, again, we wanted to hug it all. Something kind of cute as well.
Yab nabs.
Yeah.
We're not having fucking yabnabs in it.
But yeah, that yeah, I don't know.
So the sort of like cute, sort of like furry, like alien sort of deal.
Not even necessarily furry, and maybe cute is the wrong word, but kind of real peaceful.
Okay, cute, sort of like peaceful.
Something like the Jawas. Or
No, more like the Ewoks, I think, probably, but not necessarily cute in how they look, but cute in how they act. I think is more what I meant.
so hobbits.
Hobbits, yeah.
Space hobbits, right? Okay, cool.
Space hobbits, yeah.
Nobbits.
Why am I?
It's hobbits.
Why am I seeing that? Like, probably there's tribes of them like enslaved by like the Hutt analogues, and they're like, yes, work in our evil tobacco factories, make your halfling leaf, and we will sell it.
I was honestly just thinking of Earthworm Jim at that point, the planet that easily scared people.
Oh man, that takes me back. Yeah, space hobbits, we can definitely do that. Are you seeing those as like a spacefaring species? I mean, how advanced are we sort of like talking about? Or are they maybe just like wanderers, you know, they like book passage on like commercial ships and whatever. Maybe they don't even like make their own technology. I mean, if you've got enough money, you can just like pay someone to like take you to another system. There would be passenger ships.
I guess if they're going for the kind of real peaceful stuff, then I wonder if they're kind of a mix between the Ewoks and the Vulcans, who are kind of, you know, value peace, but are maybe not kind of the same backward kind of style, somewhere in the middle, and then they would be a presence across. But like the Vulcans, they probably wouldn't be widespread. They'd outside of their own, you know, like a few here and a few there.
Okay.
Volvox.
Oh.
Or Eakons. Oh, actually, I quite like that. Yeah, that's going in.
Oh.
Just like a little tiny alien, like with a pipe, like.
Oh.
I'm waiting till like, well, we get to the first session, and Kelly's like, "The fuck is this?" They'll be like, "Look, that was 4 of us. We were all quite tired."
Yeah, it was Friday night.
It was Friday night. we were all just throwing ideas in. We were like ripping off every sci-fi thing and fantasy thing we could think of. Right, cool. So that's 3 we've got sorted.
If you want to do a bit of a sidestep from Star Wars stuff, we could have like a parasite race, or like I guess that's the bad way to say it, but maybe you want to put the positive spin on it and have it be a symbiote thing. Okay. So you might have a kind of like the classic is the worm thing. So you have like a worm creature that can have a host. Now, the way we want to spin it is like depending on how we want to flavor that sort of thing is either the symbiosis, which it might even be like this species like takes every other alien or like species in the galaxy, just like, do you want to, like, we have our young here, so if you want to be a carrier, we can put our young into you. It gestates in your body, doesn't hurt you, it like feeds off of your own energy, and it grows along with you, and then like whatever attributes we want to put on them, they would be more positive. Whereas the parasite thing would be obviously the evil
like
shit.
the Stargate series.
Yeah, if it would
go all Deep Space Nine as well as one, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the what are they fucking called? The Trill. In Star Trek. And even in like B5 there's an episode where there's some like weird like parasite race. they're sort of they think they're parasites, but actually it turns out they're like, they put these symbiotic creatures on people that like join to them, and they're just creatures designed to like collect all the knowledge they can from everything they see and experience, and they end up having to like once it's attached, if you remove it, it kills the person because they're so thoroughly joined. But because they're like, oh no, you're being controlled by aliens, like of course you'll tell us that they're great. One of them like deliberately like removes itself from a person, which kills it and the person, just so like with his like dying breath he can be like, oh no, like it's all true, like they are good. And then the main character has been like, oh, they're evil parasites. Is like, oh shit, like my mates died and like this peaceful aliens died all because like I didn't trust him. But he's like, this guy's like, it was the only way.
Yeah, B5, huh? That's a series. That's
fucking love me some B5.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the ones I haven't watched.
Yeah. It's kind of my foundational like sci-fi thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love like my Star Wars and I love my Star Trek, but like I think I was still like at the right age when like Babylon 5 was being shown over here, that it was the first sort of one that after the first series anyway, like actually had like an overarching plot.
Yeah.
And it was the first one I saw where it wasn't just like episodic like every week. And obviously like later on, so like DS9 sort of did pretty much the same thing. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I like DS9's like my favourite Star Trek, because it reminds me of B5. But yeah, I can certainly rock some sort of symbiote or parasite race. I quite like the idea that even if they are like peaceful, maybe like the Empire's like quarantined their world. Because obviously, like if they've got these seemingly like benevolent symbiotes that like make people more benevolent, they're like not going to want them like going around like slapping them and everybody. So maybe they've like quarantined, whether they're evil or not, they've just like quarantined like their planet. But maybe some of them manage to like sneak off, and like the hosts are sort of trying to like keep it on the QT.
And it's like, do you have the worm?
All I knew about it was one night I was drinking this bottle of tequila, and the next thing I knew.
Have you seen Killjoys? Have you?
I've seen a bit of it. I've not seen a lot of it though.
I've seen most of it, not all of it.
They have a cool concept of the Notawaist monks, and since you're calling like the Force the way, that it might be this idea that there is kind of monks of a sort who kind of follow it, but who are not like Star Knights.
So are we thinking that like this will be like a race who did this, rather than thinking like it'd be like a society?
Sorry, more of a society, I think.
Oh, no, that's fine. There's no problems with that. So, if it's
the
something you're
Waykeepers.
interested in, I'll jot it down.
So it was more of a throwing it out there. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. Like say that part of the reason for having this like Session Zero is like, if you guys are interested in a certain thing, why would I not put it in the game? Because I know you're interested in it. So way using monks, I can definitely do something with that. And obviously they're not player characters, so like I can easily just sort of like, oh, each of them's got like one way power they can use or something like that. It's not difficult to do. And likewise, if we do the sort of symbiotes and the parasites, it's easy enough to go like, oh, the fucking symbiotes like one of these like treasure items. So like if one of you guys got one of these symbiotes in you, it'd be like a treasure item that would give you certain abilities that would get added to your sheet. Cool. Almost a bit like to use like, and I would say example like the intelligent sword you've got in Old School Essentials. It's effectively just an intelligent magical item with its own,
shit!
Goals.
I'm gonna have a paladin in my brain now. Parasite paladin.
My favourite bit of OC was when you were like, oh yeah, I think this sword can like read people's minds. So if we go to that fortress and like the guy who runs it turns out to be a knobhead, I don't think it's going to go down well, because this sword's all about questing and killing evildoers. So like I think it might not go well for us, because it can talk through my mouth.
Yeah, but on the flip side, we do want to take over the fort. So
yeah, I remember. Alternatively, we could just visit the fort, kill the guy in charge, and take it over.
Yeah, I specifically said we shank him and we toss him in the lake, so that we can just go up. He's gone. We're gonna help run the place now.
But what you need is someone with a powerful magic item to rule this. Oh!
Behold my just sword arm.
I pull it from a stone. I'm definitely the king of this new land.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Look, I've recovered the fabled sun sword.
Yeah, it's always sunny in Valkonen.
That's it. That's the problem. Right. Well, I think we're about sorted, guys, then. I've got a couple more alien species to come up with. But I think other than that, we're pretty much good. So, obviously, between now and the first session, which won't be next Friday, it'll be the Friday after, I think. Let me just check the dates. Blah, 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 blah.
13th?
13th, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Because obviously, I'm not going to be. We'll have the first session, but we won't have a second session because that'll be the 27th, which is my birthday. So I'm not going to be running a session then. But yeah, we'll do the first session on the 13th. I'll put up a Facebook event and whatever. Dave, if you can get a character sorted out for Cal in the meantime, and just post it to me on Facebook.
Yep.
If you need any help, just give me a shout. That's not a problem.
Will do, man.
I'll sort out all the equipment and various other bits and pieces between now and the first session, and I'll get like these notes written up and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. So I think we can call a close to proceedings for this evening, unless anyone's got anything else they want to discuss.
No, I think that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for jumping on for the Session Zero, guys. I'm very much looking forward to running the game. After I close this, I'll get the Facebook event set up and invite you all to it. So, again, thank you very much, guys. I'll look forward to the first session, and I'll have a good weekend, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.